Alright guys, today we're going to continue practice with what we did yesterday, and that's dividing with an area model. Except the only thing is today we're going to have remainders. Okay, so our thinking is going to be very similar to what we did yesterday. We're going to still use that area model strategy, but today we're going to have numbers with remainders. So we're going to have leftover parts. Our groups will not be equal groups. We're going to have a piece that's left over. So the first problem that I'm going to do with you is not on your problem set. It is an example. Let me say that again. It is not on your problem set. It is an additional example, and we're going to look at it together. You're welcome to write it in your notebook if you would like, or if you want to just use this as a reference moving forward, you can always do that. So we have 37 divided by 2, and I've put equals something because I want you guys to see that this area model matches what we did when we used an area model to multiply. Okay, and so what that means is that 2 times something is going to give me 37. Okay, now here's the thing. With 37, I'm not going to be able to divide 37 equally by 2 because I have to use my number sense, and I have to think, 37 is an odd number and 2 is an even number. I'm not going to be able to divide equally by an even number if I have that odd number. So I know I'm going to already have a remainder, so I'm going to prepare myself for that by knowing that there's going to be a little piece that goes here. That's going to be my remainder. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and so this is where it's coming back. Okay, we talked about this a while ago. That little box right there, that's going to represent my remainder. I just have to decide how much is that remainder going to be. Is it going to be 1, 2, 3? What is that remainder going to be? So yesterday, we used a number bond to help us decide how to break 37 apart. And we could do that same thing today, but the only thing about doing that is that we're going to now have a remainder. Okay, and so instead of drawing out a number bond, we're going to do a number bond, but we're going to do it mentally. Okay, and so I already know that my 2 will go here. All right, and this rectangle represents 37. Okay, along with this little baby rectangle. So I have to decide what's going to be represented here and then what's going to be my remainder. Okay, so 37 divided by 2. I want to think about compatible numbers that will get me to 37 if I'm dividing by 2. So 37 divided by 2. The first thing that pops into my head is 20. Okay, and 20 divided by 2, I can do that mentally. So I'm going to go ahead and draw one box here, and I'm going to label that as 20. Okay, and I know that 20 divided by 2 is 10. Alright, so if I'm keeping up with what I've done, 37 minus 20 is going to leave me with 17. Now 2 will not go into 17 equally, but 2 will go into 16 equally, correct? Alright, so now I'm going to think 2 times what, or 16 divided by 2, either way you think, is going to give me what? So 2 times 8 is 16, or 16 divided by 2 is 8. Alright, and so 20 plus 16, that gets me to 36. Alright, and I take those 16 away, I just represent it here, and I'm going to be left with 1. So that means that my remainder, this little guy that's left over, is 1. Alright, so this, okay, is my R. That's my remainder. Okay, and then these together, alright, make my quotient. So 10 plus 8 is 18. And then I'm going to have a remainder of 1. So 37 divided by 2 is 18 with a remainder of 1. Now, this strategy can be a little overwhelming because I know there's a lot of confusion with what to do. How do we break our numbers apart? And the cool thing about this is that as long as we are dividing correctly, there's always more than one way to do this. So for example, okay, let's think about another way that we could do this. Alright, let's think about another way that we could do this. So I'm still dividing by 2. Okay, and I know my doubles. So I know that 18 times 2, or 18 plus 18, gets me to 36. So I'm going to do that. Alright, that gets me to 36. And then once again, I would have one little guy left over, okay? And again, he's still going to be my remainder, okay? And so 2 times what, or 18 divided by 2 equals what? And that would be 9. And I'm going to have the same thing over here. So 2 times 9 is 18, or 18 divided by 2 is 9, either way that you think about it, okay? And I'm going to have the same thing here. And again, if I add those together, 9 plus 9, that gives me 18, and I have a remainder of 1. I got to the same answer, I got to the same result, only this time I broke my number down in a different way, okay? So that's the cool thing about this strategy. It's what I like about this strategy, is it gives you guys the opportunity to do more than one method. You can take more than one path to get to the same place. Okay, and so if your brain doesn't think in 20 and 16, you think 18 and 18, or even you break it down further, that's okay. All right, I just want us to make sure that we are understanding that we can decompose or break apart our dividend, 37, into different parts and divide and still get to the same place. And there's even more ways that you could do this problem. All right, so this is one example I wanted to do before we looked at our problem set. Okay, and we're going to look at just a couple of problems on the problem set together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to our problem set. Okay, I did not mention it earlier, but we are on C11, which is competency 11, which has to do with division and different strategies. And yesterday I told you all that we would be using the area model for sure as a strategy, since it's listed in our competency. Okay, so let's go ahead and start and read the directions. It says solve the following using the area model. Support the area model with long division or the distributive property. And so the distributive property is what I want you guys to do. So don't worry about with long division. Long division is actually not a strategy that we need to know until we get to 6th grade. So we're going to hold off on long division. If you know it already, that's fabulous, but I'm wanting us to explore some other strategies first. So it says support the area model with the distributive property, which is what we did yesterday, and I'll show you exactly what that's talking about. So here we have 48 divided by 3. Okay, now I'm going to go on and tell you, in your problem set, you may or may not have remainders. Okay, and so we're just going to have to do some exploring, some investigating to find that out on our own. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my area model. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and label it. My 3 is going to go here on the side. Alright, 48 divided by 3. Okay, again I'm going to break things down and I'm going to think about it. And so 48 divided by 3, my brain thinks, 48, that's more than 30. Okay, but 30 I can divide by 3 pretty easily. So I'm going to go ahead and draw myself a space and I'm going to label it 30. Okay, and then over to the side, I'm actually going to give myself a note. So I had 48 that I needed to divide. I've taken 30 of those away. So that's going to leave me with 18. Now, will 3 go into 18 evenly? Yes, it will actually. So that leaves my other space already marked for me. So I have 30 divided by 3 and I have 18 divided by 3. Okay, so 30 divided by 3 is 10. Or 3 times 10 is 30. And then 18 divided by 3 is 6. Or 3 times 6 is 18. Okay? And so then again, I would add my 2 partial quotients up here together. And 10 plus 6 is 16. Okay? Now, this particular problem did not have a remainder, but you guys are going to see here in just in number 5 that this is actually setting us up for number 5. It's really helpful. Okay, so then it goes on to say to support the area model with the distributive property. So that's where we're going to break this apart, and we're going to do just like with our number bond. We're going to say, okay, we did 30 divided by 3 and we added that to 18 divided by 3. 30 divided by 3 was 10. 18 divided by 3 was 6. And 10 plus 6 is 16. Okay, and so that's all that means when it says to model with the or support with the distributive property. That's all that it's referring to. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at number 5. Alright, I'm moving kind of quickly, but you guys are going to see why in here in just a second. So we have 49 divided by 3. Over here I had 48 8 divided by 3, and here I have 49 divided by 3. Now 49 is only one more than 48, okay? And I'm dividing by 3. So I'm setting myself up and saying, okay, over here I had 48 cookies divided by 3 people. Each person got 16 cookies, okay? Over here I have 49 cookies, okay? And I'm dividing by those same 3 people. I only added one more cookie. I'm not going to have enough to share again with all 3 people. So it sounds like I'm going to have a remainder. Okay, so I'm actually going to set up my area model in the same way. I'm going to have 3, 30, and 18. Now that 30 plus 18, that's only 48. I need 49, which means I'm going to have a remainder of 1. Okay, and it's the same thing. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 18 divided by 3 is 6. And then 10 plus 6 is going to give us 16. And I cannot forget about that remainder there. That remainder of 1. Okay, that remainder there of 1. So 49 divided by 3 is 16 with a remainder of 1. Now with our distributive property, we're going to do the same thing, except at the end we have to add that remainder to it. Okay, so I had 30 divided by 3 again, and I added 18 divided by 3. But then I also have this 1 that I have to add in as my remainder. So I'm going to add that 1 there at the end. So 30 divided by 3 again was 10. 18 divided by 3 was 6. And then our 1 remainder, 10 plus 6. Okay, 10 plus 6. And actually, let me back up a little bit. So we've got that 1, okay? That plus 1 there is not going to be added, okay? It's going to be our remainder, okay? And so we need to label it. So I'm going to change that 1 right there to a remainder of 1. And that way here I can say plus a remainder of 1. Okay, so 10 plus 6 is 16 with our remainder of 1. Okay, let's not get confused and add 1, because then we would have 10 plus 6 plus 1, which is 17, and that's a completely different answer. So we need to make sure that we label correctly. That's going to be adding a remainder of 1, a remainder of 1, R1. Okay. All right. Now for the next 2 pairs, so 6 and 7 is a pair, and 8 and 9 is a pair. For those next 2 pairs, okay, I want you guys to work on your own. Now for this first pair here, it's going to be similar. You're going to be able to use number 6 to help you with number 7. All right. And then for 8 and 9, you may be able to help. I'm not going to tell you. Okay. You're going to have to figure that out. But I will tell you that for 6 and 7, you're going to be able to use them to help, use 6 to do 7. With 8 and 9, I'm going to let you decide that on your own. On the back, you have a word problem that I want you to complete. It is just one word problem. Okay, it says 73 students are divided into groups of 6 students each. How many groups of 6 students are there? How many students will not be in a group of 6? So how many groups of 6 are there? And then how many students will not be in a group? Okay, how many will not be in a group of 6? Okay, once you complete those 4 problems on the front page and the word problem on the back, okay, I do want you to complete the exit ticket. Okay, it says Kyle drew the following area model to find the unknown length. What division equation did he model? Okay, so think about what was represented in the rectangles. That is your dividend. Your 2 is going to be your divisor. And then you are going to have to determine the quotient, okay? And then down here it says solve 93 divided by 4 using the area model, long division, and distributive property. You can go ahead and cross out long division, okay? We are not going to be doing long division. I want you to just do the area model and the distributive property only, okay? And the same goes for your homework this evening. Don't worry about doing the long division. I'm looking for just the distributive property. Okay, so again, 93 divided by 4 using the area model and the distributive property. Okay, We are going to continue to work on these division strategies. This week we're also practicing our station expectations. Okay, and so if you're having any issues with the area model for division, after you watch the video, let me say that again, after you watch the video, feel free to ask questions, but please make sure that you've watched to this point at the very least before you ask questions, because I may have answered your question somewhere along the way in this video. Okay, again, you're going to finish the problem set, so you're going to do the 6, 7, 8, and 9, as well as number 10 on the back with the word problem, and then you're going to complete the exit ticket as well. Alright, hopefully this video was a little bit shorter than Monday's. I know that ran long. Let's make sure that we are watching. Hopefully you've watched till this point, okay? And let's make sure that we are on task and doing our best at all times. Thanks, guys.